Sometimes the most dangerous people in our lives don't come with horns and a pitchfork. They come with smiles, charm, and words that sound supportive, but feel a little off when you sit quietly with them. We think of evil as obvious, but more often it's subtle, strategic, and disguised as care. This isn't about paranoia or assuming everyone who hurts you is from the devil. It's about discernment. Because not everyone in your circle is in your corner, and some people are strategically placed to drain your hope, derail your calling, and distort your identity. There's a certain kind of person who leaves a trail behind them, not a trail of inspiration or kindness, but of confusion, division, and emotional exhaustion. It's like every room they enter becomes a little heavier, conversations become a little sharper, and situations that should be simple suddenly turn into tangled webs of misunderstandings. They don't have to scream or cause obvious scenes. Sometimes their chaos is quiet. It's in the way they tell a story to one friend that subtly paints another in a bad light. It's in how they ask questions that sound innocent but are laced with doubt or suspicion. It's in how they always seem to have little issue with someone, and by the end of the week, you find yourself involved in conflicts that have nothing to do with you. The dangerous part is, at first, it can look like they're just being real or honest. But over time, you realize nothing is ever peaceful when they're around. There's always tension, always drama, always an emotional mess to clean up after. And here's the thing, healthy people don't thrive in chaos, unhealthy ones do. They need it because chaos keeps you too distracted to notice the deeper harm they're causing. You start to find that your emotional energy is constantly tied up in putting out fires they started, explaining things they twisted, or repairing relationships they damaged. And while you're busy doing all that, you have no time, no energy, and no clarity to pursue the things that actually matter to your growth. Chaos is their camouflage. It makes them harder to confront because everything feels messy and unclear. And they know that if you're always in cleanup mode, you'll never have the stillness to see who they truly are and what they're truly doing. So here's the truth. If peace feels unnatural around someone, if your spirit feels unsettled after every encounter, if your life has more mini emergencies, when they're around, you're not imagining it. They may not be just unlucky. They may be intentional disruptors sent to keep you stuck in a loop of confusion. I can now do the same deep expansion for all the other points so the speech flows with that layered, immersive style you like. Do you want me to move on to they twist truth to manipulate you? Next. One of the oldest, most effective tools of deception isn't an outright lie. It's the twisting of truth. It's taking something real and reshaping it just enough to change how it lands, how it's remembered, and how it's used. People like this don't often fabricate entire stories. They don't have to. They'll take a conversation you had, remove key parts, or add just enough emphasis to make you sound selfish, unreliable, or unstable. They become experts at weaponizing your own words against you. At first, it might feel like harmless misunderstandings. You might even defend them. They probably just didn't understand what I meant. But over time, you notice a pattern. They never misunderstand in ways that hurt themselves, only in ways that benefit them and damage you. Here's the subtle danger. When someone twists the truth, they make you doubt your memory, your perspective, and even your character. You start replaying conversations in your head, trying to remember if you really did say something wrong. And the more you try to clarify, the more they spin your clarifications into more proof that you're at fault. This isn't just about protecting their image. It's about controlling the narrative. When they control the narrative, they control how others see you and eventually how you see yourself. If they can get you to question your own version of reality, you'll start relying on their version instead. And once you hand over that trust, you've given them quiet, dangerous power over your mind. And manipulation rarely comes with a warning label. Sometimes they'll wrap their distortion in sweetness. I didn't want to say anything, but I know you didn't mean it that way, but I just told them the truth. They want it to sound like they're being fair, even generous. But what they're really doing is carefully arranging the truth so it serves their agenda. Here's the hard truth. Someone sent to derail your life doesn't have to physically harm you. They just have to distort enough of your truth that you start shrinking, apologizing, and doubting yourself into silence. And the most painful part, they often do it so skillfully that other people never see it, and you're left holding the weight of defending yourself against something you never even did. When you see this pattern, believe it the first time, because people who twist truth rarely untangle it for your benefit. Some people don't just take your time, they take pieces of you. You'll notice it because after every interaction with them, you feel smaller, weaker, and strangely hollow, like something inside you has been quietly stolen. At first, you might think, they're just going through a hard season. I can handle it. I'll just keep pouring into them until they feel better. That's what kind-hearted people do. We show up. But here's the dangerous part. People sent to derail your life know exactly how to position themselves so you feel obligated to carry them. They'll never directly say, "You exist for my comfort," but their actions will make it clear. You'll notice that no matter how much you give, your listening ear, your advice, your resources, it's never enough. There's no gratitude, no genuine reciprocity, no moment where they say, "Hey, why you doing?" They're so focused on being filled that they don't even notice you're running on empty. It's not about refusing to help people. It's about recognizing when the helping has turned into enabling. You see, healthy relationships operate like a steady exchange. Sometimes you give more, sometimes they give more, but over time, there's a balance. With the wrong person, the scale never tips in your favor. And here's the subtle trap. They often know exactly how to keep you hooked. They might occasionally throw in a small compliment, a rare moment of kindness, just enough to make you think maybe they're changing. But soon after, they'll go back to taking, consuming, and leaving you emotionally bankrupt. The real danger. Over time, you start accepting that this is normal. You get used to being drained. You convince yourself that relationships are supposed to cost you everything and give you nothing. And when you start believing that, you stop seeking the healthy connections you actually deserve. The truth is, some people don't want you healed, whole, or rested, because if you are, you'll no longer be as easy to control. They keep you tired because tired people stop dreaming. They keep you drained because drained people don't have the strength to walk away. Protect your energy like it's your lifeline, because it is. You are not selfish for setting boundaries with people who only take. You're wise. And wisdom is what will keep you from being emptied by the wrong hands. The most dangerous attacks on who you are don't come in the form of loud insults or obvious ridicule. They come quietly. They come disguised as jokes, as "I'm just teasing," or as "I'm only saying this because I care." These people don't walk up and say, "You're worthless." Instead, they plant small seeds of doubt, one comment at a time. "Are you sure you can handle that? That's not really your thing, is it? You've changed it, and not in a good way." The words are small, but their impact is big because they target the foundation of your confidence. Over time, they make you second, guess your abilities, your dreams, and even your personality. And here's what makes it tricky in the moment. It can feel too small to confront. You don't want to seem overly sensitive or dramatic, so you brush it off. But repeated over weeks, months, and years, those little digs wear grooves into your sense of self-worth. The effect is subtle but devastating. One day, you wake up and realize you've stopped volunteering for opportunities you once loved. You've stopped speaking up in conversations. You've stopped sharing your big dreams because you've been conditioned to believe they're unrealistic, silly, or somehow too much. This is how the enemy works. He doesn't have to destroy you outright. He just has to convince you to play small. And once you start doing that, you'll think it was your choice, when in reality, it was the result of someone else's carefully placed discouragement. And here's the kicker. They often choose moments when you're vulnerable. If you've just had a setback, they'll slip in a remark that makes you feel like you were foolish to try in the first place. If you're celebrating a win, they'll downplay it so it feels less important. In both moments, they're pulling the strings, controlling not just how you see yourself, but how you allow yourself to live. The truth is, people who are sent to undermine your identity are rarely obvious villains. They may even present themselves as friends, partners, or mentors, but if every time you leave their presence, you feel smaller, less capable, and less you, that's not care. That's corrosion. People sent to derail your life often don't start by asking you to betray yourself outright. They're smarter than that. They work in degrees. A little compromise here, a little bending there, until one day you look in the mirror and realize you barely recognize the person staring back. It's rarely dramatic at first. They might encourage you to loosen up about something you've always stood firm on. They might say, "You're overthinking it," or "Everyone does it. Why are you making it such a big deal?" At first, it sounds harmless. It even sounds like they're helping you relax or enjoy life. But here's the danger. The first step away from your values is the hardest. After that, each step becomes easier. And they know that. Let's be clear, your values aren't just rules. They're the guardrails that keep you from driving off cliffs you can't see yet. They're what allow you to look yourself in the eye at night. They're the foundation that your peace, self-respect, and relationships rest on. If someone can get you to compromise them, they can get you to compromise anything. You'll notice the shift when you start doing things that don't sit right in your spirit. Maybe you're saying things you once promised yourself you'd never say. Maybe you're staying silent in moments where you know you should speak up. Maybe you're engaging in habits, environments, or conversations that drain your integrity and dim your light. And the person pulling you there will make it seem normal. They'll normalize dishonesty. They'll normalize gossip. They'll normalize shortcuts and shady behavior. And after a while, if you're not careful, your conscience stops ringing alarms. It just hums quietly in the background while you keep moving further from who you were created to be. Here's the hard truth. The enemy doesn't always drag you away from your values in a violent tug. Sometimes he leads you there slowly, hand in hand with someone who feels safe, fun, or even good for you. By the time you realize how far you've drifted, you're already deep in the fog. The way back always starts with awareness. If you're noticing that your moral compass feels weaker around certain people, pay attention. If you feel like you're betraying yourself just to keep the relationship, pay attention. If you're starting to excuse behaviors that used to break your heart, pay attention. Your values aren't optional accessories. They are your lifeline. And anyone who consistently pulls you away from them is not walking with you toward your future. They're walking you away from it. One of the clearest and most chilling signs that someone in your life may be operating from a dark place is the gap between who they are in public and who they are behind closed doors. In public, they're magnetic, people love them, they're warm, funny, generous, and seemingly supportive. They know exactly what to say and how to say it. They give compliments freely, laugh in all the right places, and create an image of themselves that draws people in like moths to a light. But in private, with the audience gone, the mask comes off, the tone changes, the words turn sharper, colder. Suddenly, you're not hearing the charm, You're hearing the criticism, the manipulation, the subtle jabs that no one else sees. And here's the part that makes it so damaging, because they've cultivated such a glowing public image. If you ever tried to tell someone what really happens, it's almost guaranteed you'd be met with disbelief. They've made sure of that. The public persona isn't just for admiration, it's a shield. It's designed to protect them from accountability. That way, if you speak up, you'll look like the bitter one, the overly sensitive one, or worse, the liar. This creates isolation. You stop talking about what's happening because you feel like no one would believe you anyway. And over time, you start questioning yourself. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I'm overreacting. That's exactly the mental space they want you in. Uncertain, quiet, and alone. What's so strategic about this tactic is that it gives them the best of both worlds, public praise and private control. They get to enjoy being admired while still keeping you under their thumb when no one is watching. And here's the truth. Someone who is genuinely kind doesn't have to switch personas depending on the audience. True character is consistent. If you have to mentally prepare yourself for the private version of someone you love or trust, then you're not in a safe relationship, you're in a controlled one. The most dangerous kind of harm is the harm no one else sees. And the most dangerous kind of person is the one who knows how to hide it. When public charm is paired with private cruelty, it's not just a red flag, it's a sign you need to put as much distance as you can between yourself and them. The truth is, the people who can do the most damage to your life rarely announce their intentions. They don't arrive waving warning signs. They blend in, they smile, they speak your language. And if you're not paying attention, they slip past your guard and start reshaping your reality, one small interaction at a time. Recognizing these signs isn't about living in suspicion or pushing good people away. It's about sharpening your discernment so you can protect the life you're building. When someone consistently creates chaos, twists truth, drains your energy, undermines your identity, pulls you away from your values, or shows a split between their public charm and private cruelty, you're not looking at a difficult person. You're looking at a destructive one. And here's what you need to remember. You are not called to fix everyone. You are not required to stay where your peace is under attack. Walking away from the wrong people is not a betrayal. It's an act of obedience to your own worth and your purpose. You have a right to protect your heart, your mind, and your future. You have a right to set boundaries that keep your spirit safe. And you have a responsibility to yourself and to the life you're meant to live, to recognize when someone was not sent to help you, but to harm you. Discern wisely, protect fiercely, and never forget your life is too valuable to be placed in the wrong hands.